Harihi Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviran Karavavai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So, we'll continue today with cultural topics. The last time we were speaking about the Vedas and how they are the foundation of our spiritual practice. Because what are we and what is our philosophy and what is our culture and what is our practical life, all these things we take from the Vedas. So basically our lifestyle is based on knowledge that is coming from the Vedas. So we are discussing a little bit Vedas, the different parts of the Vedas. Of course, this is very big topic, and I hope that in a soon future Pandava will he has a nice seminar on this topic, explain the Vedic knowledge, different parts of the Vedic knowledge, and so on and so on. Veda and Vedanta. And now we will discuss today and the next time we are going to discuss the Vedic social system known as Varnashrama Dharma. Yes, thank you very much. So we are going to speak about the Varnas and the Ashramas. Today we will deal with the Varnas and next time with the Ashramas. It's a very practical topic for us, or at least we will try to make it very practical, not just theoretical, because this is supposed to be, to a big extent, how we live our day-to-day life. So that's why practical topic. So the Vedic system, Vedic social system has 4 social stages and 4 spiritual stages. Why? Because the idea is that you'll be able to apply yourself in the material sphere of life and be successful and maintain yourself and live your life, but at the same time make spiritual advancement. That's why at the same time you are part of social structure, social system, but you have a spiritual standards that you are following. This is the whole idea of Varnashrama Dharma system. That's why we say it's a preferable system for Vaishnavas, because automatically it includes the idea about spiritual advancement. Most of the cultures in the world, we won't comment good or bad or in the middle, but they don't really have much idea about spiritual development when we speak about social system. Generally, when people hear social system, means, okay, how you live your life. And then, if the spiritual is part of this or not, well, not necessarily. If you have some spiritual needs, okay, then find something else. So, when we speak about the 4 social orders or steps in the Varnashrama system, very practically we can say this is the way how you position yourself socially in society, and even more practically, how do you make your money. According to how do you make your money, you'll be put in one of 4 groups. It's so simple. So now we are going to read the qualities of those 4 groups, and then we can make some exercise and see where are we in these groups. Maybe we'll be in one of them, or maybe we'll be some strange mix, because it is said that in Kali Yuga most people are a Varna Shankara. What means Varna Shankara?
I was just thinking Rajaguna and Tamaguna.
Yes, Rajaguna and Tamaguna as well. Shankara means mix. So the Varna of most people in Kali Yuga is quite mixed. So anyway, even if we are mixed, at least to some extent we should understand what kind of mix we are so that we know how to engage ourselves, yes? To know what is our duty and how to engage in this duty and how to be happy. In Tuesday we had this class about identity crisis. If we don't know who are we, if we are not engaged properly in our social duties, in our spiritual duties, we won't feel satisfied and happy. So that's why this is a very important topic, practical topic for us. So, there are 4 varnas: Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Shudras. We can say like Brahmanas like the intellectuals of the society. Kshatriyas are the military people, protectors of the society, especially human society. Then Vaishyas are the businessmen and the bankers and the protectors of the animals that are helping humans, like cows and so on and so on. And then Shudras, they are the helpers of the other 3 groups. They are helping them with physical labor. So now, often in Shastra, Brahmanas are compared with the head of the social body, then Kshatriyas with the arms, Vaishyas with the stomach, and Shudras with the legs. Why? What is the job of the head? Thinking, yes. Intellectuals, they have to think, they have to have vision. Where is the society going? Is it going in the right direction, in the wrong direction? How we can change this? That's their job. Then Kshatriyas...
And also speaking. Because in Rig Veda, in Purush Suktam, Brahmano Syamukamasit, the Brahmanas came from the mouth of the universal form of Krishna. So they're doing 2 things. They're speaking Veda and they're eating on behalf of Krishna. So therefore Brahmanas are fat usually. In India when you go, because they always invite them for yagas and they feed them, so they eat. So if you feed the Brahmana, Krishna is more pleased when you feed the Brahmanas and the Vaishnavas. He's more pleased compared to when you feed him directly. So they are presenting the law of God, the Vedas, and also they accept charity on his behalf. So
yes, then Kshatriyas, they are compared with the arms. Why arms? What? Yes, arms should be strong and should yes, protect the body. With arms we are protecting. If there is danger, yes? Immediately. Naturally you try to cover your head and protect your body. That's one important job of the arms. So yes. Vaishyas are compared with the stomach. Why stomach?
I remember Prabhupada said that all the senses work to please the stomach.
Yes, or we can say the stomach works to maintain the whole body. So the energy about the whole social body is coming from the stomach. So the money to maintain the whole social body are coming from the Vaishyas. They make the money. Vaishyas are the money makers. Brahmanas, generally they are maintained by donations. They do their duty and they are maintained by donations. Kshatriyas, they do their duty and they have the right to get taxes. But they are getting taxes from who?
The Vaishyas?
Yes, because the Brahmanas, they don't get from the Brahmanas. So they should get from someone. From who? From the Vaishyas. And the Shudras, they also don't have. They don't know how to make money. They are ready to do some job. And who is paying them for this? The Vaishyas. So that's why the Vaishyas are compared with the stomach. They are giving the financial support of the whole society. That's the idea. Yes. And then the Shudras are the legs. What are the legs doing all the time?
Walking.
Yes, moving, doing the job, going from one place to the other. Okay, do this, do that. So that's the job of the Shudras, physically very active. Okay, so let's go through the qualities and the duties of those four. Brahmanas. In Bhagavad Gita, their qualities are mentioned. Bhagavad Gita 18:42. Peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, knowledge, wisdom, and religiousness. Apart from this, the Brahmanas in Srimad Bhagavatam it is said they are detached, they are humble, non-envious, expert in performing sacrifices, charitable. Oh, very interesting. Brahmanas are getting charity, but they are also giving. Whatever is extra, they don't keep. They immediately give to someone else who needs it. Charitable, obedient to Brahminical culture, never denies a challenge.
No, that's separate.
Sorry, I mixed it.
Obedient to Brahminical culture is for the
Yes, sorry. Charitable, fixed in bhakti. Also, they have mental equilibrium, satisfaction, very important quality of the Brahmana, satisfaction. If you are not happy, satisfied, you cannot be Brahmana, because Brahmana should be able to survive in this way and that way. If he has a lot, fine. If he doesn't have anything, again, he has to be very happy. Very important qualities of Brahmana, satisfaction. Firm faith in the Vedas. Forgiveness, simplicity, mercy, surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And they are situated in the mode of goodness. Yes. What are the duties of the Brahmanas? Study of the Vedas, teach the Vedas, perform sacrifices to others, for others, and engage others in sacrifices, give in charity, and accept charity. These are the 6 duties of a Brahmana. So,
I think out of these 6, 3 were compulsory and 3 were...
generally they do, but even if they don't do it, it's not a problem.
Yeah, and I think Mom says that among all the duties, the chanting of the holy name
is the most important.
If you do this, if a Brahmana does this, then he's perfect. Just this.
So a Brahmana should study. He may teach or he may not
teach,
but he has to study every day.
Just.
That's the duty of the Brahmana. Then he has to perform sacrifices, and I think this is what it meant, that the most important duty for a Brahmana is which sacrifice? Japa. Yes. Chanting the names of the Lord. And then he has to give charity.
Yes.
He may not accept, but he has to give. That's also a duty of a Brahmana.
Like cows, they would give in charity. I remember reading that.
They will, if they, sometimes they may give physical things, but if not, they will give knowledge. They will just be charitable in this way, giving knowledge, giving wisdom to the people. If they have nothing else to give. Because at the end of the day, this is the most precious thing you can give to the people. So that's why. These are the 2 obligatory duties.
And Krishna says in Gita, all sacrifices, they culminate in transcendental knowledge. So this is the... And if you have transcendental knowledge, even if you are the most sinful person, what was the verse? You will santarishyasi, you will cross over
Apichet
the...
apisa apipapebhya sarvebhya papakritamaha jnana plavenaiva vrijinam satarishyasi.
Yes. Okay, so...
With the boat of transcendental knowledge,
you
you can cross the ocean of ignorance. Even if you're the most simple person. So that's the most precious thing, spiritual knowledge. So one important thing, in Bhagavad Gita, it is said that Brahmanas, they work by their qualities. It's very interesting. Generally, when we ask someone, so what's your job? And like the person will say, oh, I'm building houses, or I'm selling something, or I'm driving a truck. Like, this is the job. But Bhagavad Gita, interestingly describes that Brahmana work by showing certain qualities. That's their job. Shamo, Damo, Tapa, Shaucham, Kshartim, Archavam, Evacha, Jnana Vijnana Astikyam, Brahma Karma, Svabhavajam. So, just by presenting, showing these qualities, they are example for the whole society, and they play extremely important role in the whole society. Because the society always needs a good model. If there is no good model, then the whole society will degrade, go down. So this is actually the job of the Brahmanas. They should be example for everybody to see. That's why all these qualities are mentioned, like peaceful, satisfied, honest, humble. So people, they see and they basically develop desire, oh, I have to develop the same qualities, I should develop the same character. So that's why, very, very important thing. Do you have some questions for the qualities and the duties of a Brahmanas?
So Tulsi Prabhu mentioned that the Brahmanas are in a mode of goodness. And traditionally, the Vedic society, and also Srila Prabhupada wanted the same thing in Mayapur. Mayapur, the transcendental town of Mayapur, Prabhupada envisioned as having different quarters for Brahmanas, for Kshatriyas, for Vaishyas. So, the idea behind this is that, first of all, it is normal that people, what was the proverb, birds from the same feather flock together, right? So if you have certain qualities, you will naturally associate with similar type of people, like yourself. And because the Brahmanas have the extremely important role in society, they have to present the knowledge of material and spiritual knowledge. And they have to advise the administrators, the Kshatriyas. So as Tulsi Prabhu mentioned, their responsibility is to have ideal character. That means they have to be in Sattva Guna. Srila Prabhupada said that ordinary people, they build houses, they build whatever, real estate. Brahmanas, they build character. This is their duty. And if you build character, then all other necessities will be provided, because this is your dharma. So, therefore, traditionally there were kind of all these groups of people, they were kept kind of aside. So the Brahmanas, they did not associate too much with, they did associate with other varnas, of course. They would give advice to the Kshatriyas, and they would teach the Vaishyas, even the Shudras. But they had to protect their purity. So, and other varnas, they were aware of that. So there was no jealous or enmity or envy traditionally. Not like nowadays, this is presented as a caste system, and it's oppressive. Oh, you think you are very high, and therefore you don't. Let's say you come to my house, a Brahmana comes to your house. He doesn't take food from your house. And nowadays this will be, of course, there will be like fruit. You can give him fruit or fruit basically. But something that is cooked, he will not take. And the other varnas, I have friends from South India who grew up in such an environment, and one friend was telling me that he had Brahmana friends from school. Sometimes they would come to his house, and they will hang out together. But his parents, they knew that this boy will not accept cooked food. But there was no problem, you see. nobody was envious. They understood, okay, these are the Brahmanas, they are teachers, they follow certain very high standards of cleanliness, of purity of consciousness, etc. So we don't accept this as a sign of oppression or complex of superiority. See, this is very high culture. Nowadays, this will be accepted as, well, this is like, people will get crazy about this. And they are, actually. But it is, the thing is that there is scientific reason for all these rules. The reason in this case is that the Brahmanas, they have to maintain their purity, because this is good for all the society, for everybody. And it's not a sign of their feeling superior, it's just their duty that they have to take important decisions for the benefit of everybody.
It's not pride.
It's not because out of pride or arrogance or anything like that. So you see, but in order, if you want to understand this, then you have to really be, you have to grow up in such culture and understand deeply the concepts behind. Yes?
I was listening to a talk recently with Uncle Prabhu, and it was with a couple devotees, and they were discussing the direction of ISKCON, and they were talking about how Prabhupada, his next direction was to integrate Varnashram Dharma into the movement. And so do you think in the West at least it would be possible to integrate Varnashram Dharma, given that, you know, a lot of people within India, maybe not all, are actually, you know, saying that it's oppressive and then such, you know, the culture here. Do you think people, how do you think people would feel about that? Or do you think maybe if somebody voluntarily subscribes to the Varnashram Dharma, it could be something?
So can you flip the Varnashram?
Oh, it's like the problem.
Now, yeah, now you understand. We'll park this question.
Okay, yeah, we can do it later.
And later we'll deal with it, because otherwise it will stretch the...
Yeah, okay.
I think it's for little later. Otherwise, it's a good question. So remember it.
Yeah.
We'll
Can I just give very short answer, just for the beginning?
It will. We didn't even start the topic, and now we are going in some controversial
No,
stuff.
yeah, we just stop.
I think it's for a little later discussion. Yeah.
So I remember reading in Gita, Prabhupada wrote, like, or Krishna said in Gita, that the problem with the mode of goodness is one starts thinking that they're better than other people. I remember reading that verse. Yeah, I read that today.
Yes, and it can happen.
Or like they get conditioned by happiness too, also.
Happiness and knowledge.
Happiness and knowledge.
These are the symptoms of sattva. But the idea is that generally they wouldn't. That's why people will accept them as an authority, as a pure people. That's why they are example for the whole society. Now, in some cases, they allow themselves to become impure and proud. That was the problem. That's why the society started degrading, as they say. Anyway, yeah, that's the idea. But generally, it was not like that. This is not the original idea of the system. Original idea is that the head of the society should have purity, and then everybody will follow. Okay? That's okay?
Yeah.
So Varnashrama Dharma is the Vedic social system. And now we are discussing how it is functioning.
Oh, okay.
There are 4 social divisions: intellectuals, military people, businessmen, and workers. And now we are describing the qualities and the duties that they have.
Okay.
And then we'll see where is our place. So, Kshatriya. What is the meaning of Kshatriya?
Warrior? Warrior? Is there more to it?
Protectors?
Yes.
Protectors.
Kshatraya. To free.
Military?
Yeah, to free from.
Protect through violence
Yes.
is the meaning.
Through violence, really?
Yes. Kshat means to be violent, and Trata means to.
But
To
the idea
liberate.
is that they are protectors. Protector of the human society, especially. all living entities, but especially...
I mean, if it's necessary. If it's not necessary, you protect just by saying something.
They are qualities: heroism, power, determination, resourcefulness, courage in battle, generosity, and leadership. This according to Bhagavad Gita 18:43. Then we have their qualities from Srimad Bhagavatam: charitable, obedient to the Brahminical culture, never denies a challenge, influential in battle, unconquerable, patient, challenging, control of the bodily necessities, forgiving, attached to the Brahminical nature, always jolly and truthful. They are, according to Srimad Bhagavatam, in the mixed modes of passion and goodness. Some place it is said passion, some place it is said passion and goodness. Why passion and goodness? Well, because by consciousness there is no big difference between Kshatriyas and Brahmanas. Means they also study the Vedas very nicely. They know all the rules and regulations. They know how they have to act in certain situations. They know very well all these things. But the Brahmanas, they are more detached because of all the knowledge they have, so they won't practically get involved in the world, in the society. Whereas Kshatriyas, because of the passion they have, they don't mind to getting involved. So that's why they are practical people. But they may have the same knowledge that the Brahmanas have. But still, from the perspective of the culture, they will always be subordinate, they will always treat them as their gurus, they will always take advice from the Brahmanas, they will always worship the Brahmanas, because this is how the culture is functioning. What are their duties? Protects the citizens, perform sacrifices, give charity, study the Vedas, uphold Dharma in the kingdom. So very much similar duties like the Brahmanas. Yeah. Traditionally, a Kshatriya, he will at least few hours from his day will be just for listening the Vedas, the Shastras. This is part of his duty. Let's say he'll go to his court and deal if there are some problems, and if there is nothing, he just listens Shastra. And then in the afternoon again, he listens at least 1-2 hours. That's important part of his duty as well.
And like the emperor's advisor would be considered the Brahmana? Like, for example, Chandragupta Maurya's advisor, Chandragupta Pandit?
Yes. But you have different classes of Brahmanas, yes?
Yeah, there will be a prime minister, but then there will be a like a council with different types of Brahmanas, expert in different fields.
And also those Brahmanas who are involved in directly in ruling the kingdom, let's say they accept a post, generally they are considered one level lower, yes, because they are directly involved in politics, in all these things. Those Brahmanas who are detached from all this, and let's say they live somewhere in the forest and they have their Gurukula and they just study Shastra, they'll be considered one level higher because they are not involved in politics, in intrigues, in all these things. They are still Brahmanas, but once you are involved in politics, sometimes this may influence your knowledge, your consciousness.
They would say like never mix philosophy Buddhists, they would never get in politics.
That's why the Vedic principle was that a real Brahmana would never take a salary. He will always stay independent. Why? Because if he's independent, he may always say the truth. The moment you become dependent on someone, there are so many other things that you have to consider. What he is going to say, what he is going to think, what will be the consequences for myself. If this happens, where I'm going to live, is he going to give me money? So many other things. But if you're independent, then you can just, in a very detached way, say, this is what Shastra says, this is what should be done in this case, Haribol. And then the king should decide what to do.
But that's why Chanakya Pandit also, he didn't accept salary from the king. He invited him to live in the palace, and he refused. He stayed at his hut. He was living in a village. And he was the prime minister of the king, but he was living in a small hut, doing his sadhana there.
That's smart, because then the king doesn't own him.
Yes.
That's the idea.
Yeah. And important thing to know in the dealing between Brahmanas and Kshatriyas is that, there is this famous verse, if the relation between a 9-year-old Brahmana and 90-year-old Kshatriya is like the relationship between father, grandfather even, and son. The son being the Kshatriya and the father being the Brahman, although he's 9 years old.
Almost like Prahlad Maharaj.
I'm sorry, say again?
I that's what you're saying.
So the relation between the Brahmana, 9 years old Brahmana and 90 years old Kshatriya is like the relation between father and son, the son being the Kshatriya and the father being the Brahmana. And another important thing is that the Brahmanas, they give advice, but they don't take the decisions. The decision is taken by the king, and he takes the responsibility for it. In other words, the highest caste is not actually in power. They don't actually rule the country. Although they are the highest, they are supposed to live in a very humble environment, in poverty even, Prabhupada says, so that they are not actually in control. So if you see that somebody wants to be the Brahmana, so he knows the Shastra, he gives advice, but also he wants to be the Kshatriya simultaneously, that's not proper.
That means having full control and deciding what will happen. This opposite to the Vedic culture. Because the idea is that you don't have one person who has everything. He knows everything, he's saying everything, he's taking the decision.
And he's getting the money. So I'm the Brahmana, I interpret Shastra, and I also take the decisions, and also all the money are with me. So this is, therefore, one of the duties of the king, the main duty, how he protects the citizens by engaging everybody in their dharma. And therefore, we have many stories when Ramachandra was walking around in his kingdom, and then he sees a Shudra studying the Veda, for example. That's not proper. Or he sees ascetic with weapons. That's also not proper. So you're either Kshatriya or a Brahmana or a Vaishya or a Shudra. There are a certain set of duties. You cannot mix them and try to take advantage from all different positions in society. I'll get the respect of the Brahmana, the influence of the Kshatriya, the money of the Vaishya, and
sense gratification,
and the responsibility of the Shudra, because I'm Shudra, I cannot follow. I should not be asked to follow.
Is it almost like when a layman tries to be a doctor or studies to be a doctor, or is that something different?
Yes, similar. Although a layman may qualify himself and may become a real doctor, that's allowed. Here the problem is that a ordinary person without qualification study Shastra, and then what will happen? And he will not only that he will teach this to others, that he will cheat everybody, and this will be disastrous for the whole society. So this is what is forbidden. Okay, sorry.
Yes.
Is there room for a question, or are we off time?
Yeah.
Okay. You mentioned that with the Brahmanas there's multiple levels. Is there the same in all the other castes with like Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Sudras?
It's always. There are many jatis inside the general category.
Yeah, at the end we'll speak about the different combinations, but first to understand the system, how it works, we should know the qualities, the symptoms of the different groups, and how actually the idea is that they work as one whole, they cooperate, like what Pandava Prabhu was was explaining. So the Brahmanas are on the top, but they don't have the power to take the decision. The decision will be taken by the Kshatriya, who is not on the top. But actually he voluntarily will ask the Brahmanas what they think is the best. So you see, it's like a correlation between the two. It's not, nobody is working on his own, that's the idea. If everybody starts working on his own, then you don't have a system. You don't have a social system. Like for example, you close yourself in one room and you do whatever you like. No problem, but it's not a system. System means everybody should be included.
Community,
inside, and they
community.
work together, yes.
Like Brahmanas, they know the Dharma, they can teach Dharma, they can teach, the
They are on the
entire
top,
society, right?
and
So
everybody
that's why
should hear their word. But they cannot take the decisions.
Right.
Because if they have both, well, then it can be misused. Kshatriyas, they take the decisions, but they have to ask the Brahmanas actually what should be
What
the
is the
decision.
right and what is the wrong?
So everything works in this way. Vaishyas, they have the money means power, but voluntarily they will use the money the way how Brahmanas advise them to use them. So in other words, for the benefit of the society.
And we'll give tax to the king also.
Yes. So that's the idea that
And we'll maintain the Shudras with this money.
yes, nobody is completely independent. Nowadays the problem of society is that everybody wants to be completely independent. And this is the problem.
And by the way, this system is not just a Hindu custom. This is the system everywhere. Not only on this planet, but everywhere in the whole universe. Everybody follows Varnashrama. Even the demons do. Because Varnashrama is the way how to get most sense gratification. This is the proper way how to live your even materialistic life in the best possible manner. The only difference is that right now on this planet, people are still following it, but it's not scientific. So they are not aware what they're doing. So there are always these four categories everywhere, wherever you go. It's not about India, some old-fashioned books. Here in America, in Europe, everywhere you have the intellectuals, or the priests, the scholars, the professors in university. Then you have the administrators, then you have the business persons, and you have the workers. Everywhere is there. But because it's not scientific, people are not aware of the nature of these positions. What is the nature? What is the duty? And
How they combine.
And how they correlate. Therefore, it is Varnashrama, but it's not scientific. So it's a universal concept. You see, it's not just some Indian stuff.
Actually, Varnashram means the laws that work in the material universe, described by God. So whatever works practically in the material universe, you can learn by the system of Varnashram. In other words, if you are acting according to Varnashram, as Mandava Prabhu is saying, this is the way to get practically the most benefit out of life.
Even materially.
Materially. That's the way to do it. Because Varnashram is giving what are the laws, how this universe is functioning. So you can get the best out of it. Otherwise we don't know. We try this, we try that, but actually we don't know how to get the benefit.
Hit and miss.
Yes.
Trial and error.
Is it just like the very educated people in this world? It said I remember in Gita, Krishna says that I'm the intelligence of the intelligent. So does that mean that I also remember karma kind of plays a role in that? Is that true?
No, the idea is very simple. This world is governed by laws. And if you want to achieve something, if you try not to achieve it according to the laws, the opportunity not to achieve it is very big, isn't it? Like for example, there are certain laws how you make money. Now, intelligent people, what are they doing? They observe, and by looking around them and looking the successful businessmen, they get these laws. Aha, this is how you make money. You deal nicely with the person, then you tell them, I won't make any profit out of you, but actually you are making profit. There is a certain way how you do it. It's a system. So this is the way this is the best way to make money. And then Varna Shama is not just teaching you how to make money, but how to do it in a righteous way, not in the sinful. Because nowadays many people, they know these laws and they use them, but in a sinful way. And then they will lose this money very soon because they are actually not pure money. Now Varna Shama is teaching you how to do the money according to these laws, but to be in a pious way. And then in this way you keep them. You keep them this lifetime, then you will die, then the money will stay in your parents, in your children, then they'll have them because they are pious, they'll keep them, then they'll go to their children, like that, generation after generation. So this is the scientific idea of Varnashama Dharma. It's something much bigger than actually what we can imagine. That's why Padma Prabhu is saying the laws on which the whole universe is based. And because it works, that's why the whole universe is working it. All the clever guys in the universe are using it. The demigods are using it, the demons are using it, the Gandharvas are using it. Even in the spiritual world they are using it. Not because they have to, but because anyway they have to follow some system, cultural system, they have to reciprocate somehow. So that's the best way to reciprocate. So this is what they do. Like Nanda Maharaj, Krishna is getting born, Nanda Maharaj is giving charity. He may say, oh, why I have to give charity? Just keep this money. No, you have to do something. You have to express.
Giving charity to the Brahmanas.
Yes.
Otherwise you'd be selfish, right?
Yes, you have to express your love somehow. So this is the way to express your love. You give charity, you invite everybody, you make a big feast, you feed them. This is how you do it. There is a system how you express all the emotions, all the relationships in the human society.
Garga Muni comes and performs the ritual for Krishna's birth. There is special samskara. So these are all Vedic rites. And this is a spiritual world, right?
Krishna is a Vaishya,
Krishna
and
is
when
Vaishya.
he becomes 5-year-old, he has to perform his duty. What's his duty? It's to get the cows and bring them to the pasture grounds. If what he does, that's his job. He has to learn to do this. This is how it works. There is again culture because, okay, you exchange love, you exchange bhakti, but how we are going to exchange it? You need some via media. You need some culture. Some culture that defines the relationships between everybody in the society. Okay, you're the mother, so what are your duties? Oh, you take care for the kids, okay. You prepare the food, you clean the house. Okay, you're the father, what are you doing? Okay, you have to take care for the difficult stuff in the house. Something is broken, you have to do it. And then you have to go deal with the king, pay the taxes, all these things. Okay, you are the kids, what's your duty? Okay, you have to study, you have to help with this. Everything should be defined, the relationship between these people. So this is Varnasham. That's the idea.
Do your duty correctly.
Yes, learn what are your duties and then perform them correctly. And then you won't create disturbance in the society, rather you will give support to the society.
So it is actually a science of a relationship between people, not so much about castes or positions. It is teaching the inherent nature of everyone and how we can have best relationship among each other based on our duty, because otherwise you don't have relationship. If you don't perform our duties, then there is no relationship. So actually it's a science of rasa, of nice relationship between people and with God.
Because a relationship is not built on rights.
Yes,
It's
duty.
built on duties.
Duty, obligation.
If you start relationship with your rights, very fast this relationship will be over. You have to start your relationship on duties. Okay, these are my duties towards you. Oh, and these are your duties toward me. And then you have relationship because you do something to each other. Otherwise, if everybody is just like cross hands and just, you have to do this for me. No, you have to do this for me. There is no relationship. It's just quarreling and everything goes to hell at the end. That's it. Okay, so just let's mention a few of the important qualities of the Kshatriyas again. So heroism. A Kshatriya should be always very brave because he has to protect. Yes. So he is very courageous in battle. He will never leave the battlefield. Not like nowadays Srila Prabhupada is saying that the general of the army, he is locked somewhere in some bunker under the ground, and from there he is saying what the soldier should do, and he is eating sandwich and drinking coffee. This is not a Kshatriya, this is a rascal.
That's very true, yeah. Often people.
The real Kshatriya, he will start first, like let's say Alexander the Great. He was very short guy, but he was so brave. He would always start first running towards the army. When they were fighting with the Persians, they had 2 times bigger army. He didn't care. This is Kshatriya. So Kshatriyas, they will always, actually for them it's like a sport. Fighting is like a sport. The rest of the time they feel kind of bored, and when there is opportunity for fighting, okay, now.
They're always ready.
Okay, there will be some fun. Let's do it. This is their mentality. This is how they think. Or like we have in Bhagavatam, Dhruva Maharaj, Kshatriya. His mother told him something, and he became so offended, he couldn't just forget and forgive. He said, no, I have to do something about it. This is a Kshatriya. Kshatriyas are very...
And Narada Muni told him, just
forget about it.
get over this, it's not worth it. It's
What
just...
about Prahlad Maharaj?
Prahlad Maharaj is also Kshatriya, but he showed his Kshatriya qualities later when he was ruling. And when he was young, he just showed his pure devotee qualities. But in the case of Dhruva Maharaj, because he was not a pure devotee, his material nature came up very strongly. So Narada Muni told him, just forget about it, like you're smoking, go back home. He said, no,
You know,
I'll not go back home.
you know this lecture is actually helping me understand some of the criticism that people point towards Prabhupada. Like, there was this one female devotee that said that Prabhupada didn't understand human rights, but then he'd say,
Krishna.
but then he said dharmas or like relationships are based on duty rather than rights.
Yes,
That
this
proves
is very important.
she didn't understand Prabhupada.
Yeah, she didn't understand.
This is very, very important to understand. If there is no doing something for the other first, there is no relationship. If you start with what you are going to do for me, then this is not relationship. This, in the best case, business. In the best case.
That's not
Maybe even there is no business. This is not relationship. Relationship starts the moment you think what you're going to do for the other person, because that's your duty, and then he's thinking the same. Then you have a relationship. At least that's the Vedic idea about relationship. So anyway, the idea about Kshatriya was that he's extremely brave. He will never give up. One devotee was mentioning that somewhere in Shastra it is said that a real Kshatriya, you cannot watch him in the eyes. His eyes are like the eyes of a tiger, so intense, sometimes bloody. Even.
It used to be, not anymore. I guess that time we were in a different time zone.
Yes, I guess so. Okay, Vaishya. Devoted to the demigods, the spiritual master and the supreme Lord, Vishnu, endeavoring for advancement in religious principles, economic development, and sense gratification. So, with the previous, there was no endeavor to develop economically, in sense gratification. Now, with the Vaishyas, this thing comes. When we speak about Kshatriyas and Brahmanas, the most important thing is what's my duty. And they are ready to die for a duty. Kshatriya is ready to die for his duty. Brahmana is also ready to die for his duty. Now Vaishya is a little bit different. the things are always mixed. Duty is there, but what will be the personal profit out of it, and how much sense gratification I'll get, it's always mixed. That's why sometimes,
Cannot die. Most of the time.
yes,
Life is too important.
if their consciousness is not very high, they may decide to sacrifice duty or dharma for the personal benefit. Kshatriya and Brahmana, they always put the dharma on first place. And their personal well-being, their personal happiness, always secondary. They know it, they think about it, but it's always secondary. They will never make a compromise. Vaishya, it depends. Depends on his
mood.
Yes, let's say if you say, yeah, if you do that, you'll make $1,000 profit. He'll say, no, I won't make compromise with my duty. Sorry. And then you say, 100,000. And he say, okay, let's do it. This is the mentality. This is how it works. Vaishya has a price because this is his field, money. Everything can be bought with money. If not with little money, with lots of money. That's the mentality. So that's why they think about economic development, sense gratification. Believing in the words of the spiritual master and scripture, and always endeavoring with experience in earning money. Mixed passion and ignorance. So that's the problem. Because they have ignorance, sometimes they have this tendency to forget actually the importance of Shastra, importance of duty, and to do what is just beneficial for their material situation at the moment. Just to read their duties.
That's what I was going to ask.
Farming, cow protection, and business. Business generally also includes banking, keeping money. They are the people who keep the money. And they are also performing sacrifices, maybe not personally, but they pay so that the Brahmanas constantly perform sacrifices, or they help the king with money so that he can arrange for sacrifices. And they give charity, and they study the Vedas. So we can see giving of charity and studying the Vedas, this is a common duty for all the different Varnas. So you want to ask something else or just this?
That's what I was going to ask, was what's the duty of the Vaishyas? Because you said how the Brahmanas and the Kshatriyas, they'll always perform their duty first. But it's like, so...
Farming, cow protection, and business.
So they would just make sure that the cows are protected and the food's grown before themselves. Is that what a Vaishya doing his duty is doing?
But it's easy for himself, he makes profit out of it, so his duty is to make money.
Yeah.
But he has to share the money in proper way.
So
To give taxes and to give charity to the Brahmanas and to maintain the Shudras.
And they have this special brain that they can see how to do the job so that you can get money out of it.
It's a business mind.
Yes. Everybody can do, let's say, everybody can do farming, but not everybody can do farming with a profit. Vaishya, immediately his mind will calculate, okay, if I do this job, I will put so much work. I need so many people, it will take so much time, and then at the end, most probably I'll get that much out of it. So if I sell it for that profit, okay, then I'm on a profit. Then I'll do it. If not, he'll do something else. But if he does not feel that he's making profit, he won't be enthusiastic to do it. This is how the mind of a Vaishya works. Kshatriya, he'll do it because it's his duty. It can be profit, it can be loss, he doesn't care. It's my duty, I will do it. I can die, I can win, it's my duty to fight, I'm going to fight. But they are 10,000 times stronger than you. It doesn't matter, that's my duty. Brahman also, I have to teach. There is one person to listen to me, there are 10,000 people to listen to me. Anyway, my duty is to teach, I'm going to teach, that's it. Vaishya, it's not like that. Am I going to make profit if I do the job? No. Okay, then I won't do it, I'll do something else. They don't mind doing, but they'll do what will bring money. If it doesn't make money, they're not enthusiastic to do it. They don't have the passion to do it because it's not bringing money.
That's the sport.
Yes, this how their mind is working. That's why some big businessmen, they are saying for them it's exactly like a sport. Just, they don't care anymore how much they make, just they want to rotate money. They want to invest and get some profit out of it and invest again. Like, that's their life. This is what gives passion to their mind. Otherwise they go into ignorance. Some questions about the Vaishyas? And then Shudras, respectful for the higher sections of the society. Very, very important. Why so important? Well, because if they are not respectful, why they will take them to work for them? Why you have opportunity to choose from so many workers, why you are going to get the guy who is acting so bad towards you? He has attitude, he is constantly like saying you don't know what you're doing, and I won't do it now, I'll do it tomorrow, and this. Why are you going to get him if he's not respectful? No, you won't do it. So that's why very important quality. Then cleanliness. Shudra should be clean, nicely dressed. Free from duplicity, so they should not be cheaters. If you have a worker and you see that he has a tendency for cheating, what you're going to do?
What?
Throw him out.
Yeah, this makes me think, as you're saying that, like when a person goes for a job, they do a background check, a background check to see if they have any.
But back then there was no background.
Okay.
But now there
But,
is.
yes, but I'm just comparing, how you say in
Reputation.
this structure.
As your
Yeah.
You see.
So they should be free from duplicity, they should not steal, they should be truthful. And Bhagavatam is saying they are in the mode of ignorance. Why in the mode of ignorance? Because their only motivation to perform something is sense gratification. That's their motivation factor. If they won't get sense gratification out of the job they are doing, they don't have motivation to get up. This is how it works. That's why, let's say a Brahmana, he will get up very early because he knows I have duties to do. Kshatriya will get up very early. He knows I have duties to do. Vaishya, he will also get up early because he knows I cannot just start my day. I have to prepare for my day. But Shudras, they won't get up until they have to. The moment they really have to do it, then they will get up and they will just half sleeping, okay, just go to the toilet and then get the coffee in hand and the cigarette in the mouth, and then they will start going because they don't have choice. If I don't go, they won't pay me. This is the mentality. So this is their motivational factor.
There is this Ghosh community in Navadvip, and one friend was telling how their day starts. So he wakes up. Then first thing he does, there is a basket with rice next to his bed, so he kicks the basket to see if there is rice. And if there is enough rice, he just goes back to sleep. If there is no rice, then he'll wake up and.
But this is how it is. Like, for example, someone who is like a worker, okay, during the week he'll get up what time? Maybe 6, 7. Why? Because 8 he has to be on the working place, isn't it? But what about Saturday and Sunday?
He'll sleep till 10?
10, 11. He will purposefully go very late because that's his way to get extra sense gratification, and then he will sleep during the whole day. Why? Because 5 days I was going through this austerity, getting up so early, so now I can do whatever I like. But then Monday, unfortunately, again, he has to do whatever he has to do. But that's the mentality. A regulated businessman, he won't do that. I mean, Saturday, Sunday, he will also kind of get up on time and go do some jogging, prepare for the day, and then get the family and they will go somewhere. He will not just sleep. For him, sleeping is a waste of time. For a Shudra, sleeping is one of the greatest opportunity for sense gratification. It's like his life.
He's like relaxing.
So actually, if you see these 4, these are different mentalities. These are like different species of life.
Yes.
actually.
Different human species. Because in my country, we had to go in the army, compulsory. I was for 18 months. So they was saying in the army that this is the only place where sleeping is not a waste of time. Because you sleep and then the service passes, So you want to sleep more because it kinds of quickens. So, but this is tamoguna actually. This is example of tamoguna. You don't want to be active. And people in Rajas, they don't want to sleep because it's a waste of time. They don't make profit by sleeping. Business persons or kshatriyas or Prabhupada also, he was always saying that we have to minimize two things, sleeping and eating, and one thing should be made zero, sex. Unless you, of course, grihastha, and then you have to conceive children, Krishna conscious children. So, these things. Okay, yeah.
So now, dear devotees. Yes.
I understood why Prabhupada said make sex zeros because I think scientifically it's also proven. Like I know in Ayurveda, it said that if you waste your valuable sex energy, then your intellect becomes weaker and
The whole
your
body
life-
weakens.
Yeah.
Yes,
immune system.
these are like the, how to say, side benefits from not indulging in sex. Your intellect will be strong, your body will be very energetic, and so on and so on. But actually, this is not the main reason. The main reason why, because this is the main thing that is keeping us in the material world. Because of that, we are getting born again and again and again. Because we want to experience this so-called happiness. So-called because Srimad Bhagavatam is comparing pleasure from the sex with rubbing your two hands to release an itch. This is what it is. You have this strong itch in your mind. I gotta do it, and I gotta do it, I gotta do it. And then, what's going on? You do sex, you just rub one hand in the other, one body on the other, and then you think, oh, now I'm happy. Mechanically explained, this is what is sex. But somehow our mind makes it like the ultimate happiness of life. So that's why Srila Prabhupada is saying zero, because till the moment we are extremely attached to this, we won't become seriously attached to Krishna and to the idea of going back to the spiritual world. This is how it works. So that's why, as Pandava Prabhu said, make it zero. So now my question is, I have few important questions, and then we will finish, and then I will give you a homework. Do you like homework?
Homework.
Little bit homework. So, does this system apply to devotees? What do you think? Does this system apply for devotees? Does Varna Shrama system applies for devotees or only for material people?
I would say yes. Well, it's controversial. I would say.
Controversial. What you would say?
Applies to everybody in the universe.
Everybody in the universe.
Yes, it applies.
Yes?
Yes. It
Yes.
applies.
The second part.
So,
But then again, I remember Prabhupada saying that like Vaishnavas are above Brahmanas, so they don't have to follow the regulations of Brahmanas. Like I remember Prabhupada said.
Vaishnavas are above Brahmanas, so they have to follow. They don't have to follow the regulations of the Brahmanas.
They are Brahmins.
Yes, they are free. They are above the law of karma, the pure Vaishnavas. But for the benefit of the society, they will do what?
Teach.
Yes, they will give example. So who will teach how people to follow properly their social duties?
Teach their dharma or do
The Vaishnavas. Actually, the Vaishnavas.
Vaishnava.
Vaishnavas, they act as ideal people in the society. Especially those who are one way or the other part of the society. Now, if you are a Vaishnava who is living in the Himalayas, you are out of the society, so then no problem. But if you are part of the society and you are a Vaishnava, So definitely you will follow, because you have to give proper example to other people. Otherwise they will immediately criticize the Vaishnavas. They say, oh, these are such rascals, they don't do anything for the society. So no, we want to show, no, we are doing something, just see. But we are participating according to our situation, our position, our duties. But Vaishnava, he is always trying to give a good example to the society, so that people don't criticize him, this will be bad for them, they don't criticize Krishna, who is the god of the Vaishnavas, and also people are inspired by his example. So they are saying, wow, just see, he is a spiritual guy, he has so many spiritual duties, and on the top of that, he's doing all these other things. Wow, he's an amazing person. I want to be like him. This is the idea. So that's why, although they are not obliged to follow the rules of Varna and Ashrama, still Vaishnavas will follow them to give a good example to others. And of course, if we are not pure Vaishnavas, not completely pure, still we have some obligations socially, because we are part of the social life, yes? Now if you are, let's say, sannyasi and you are living in the Himalayas, okay, no problem. But if you are a family person, still you have to work, still you have to deal with so many people, still you are part of the social system of the country. So you have to do all these duties in a proper way, yes? Pay your taxes. When you drive your car on the street, you don't do damage. So it's natural that the Vaishnavas, they will follow. Yes.
What is the duty of a grihasta, and how do they differ from a griyamedi?
That's a very good question. It's part of the next discussion. Can you come next Friday?
Yeah, I can. If I don't have training for work.
Yes. Shortly said, the difference between grihasta and grihomedi is that the center of the life of a grihomedi is his personal sense gratification. And the center of a life of a grihasta is Krishna and his service to Krishna. Krishna will be the center of the house, and he will be serving Krishna. He will engage his wife serving Krishna. He will engage his kids serving Krishna. He invite guests and try to benefit them by giving them prasadam and speak about Krishna. So always Krishna will be in the center. This is the main difference. But there are many duties. Next time we are going to go through those. One important thing to mention is that those 4 varnas are created directly by Vishnu in the beginning of the universe. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying, Chatur Varna Maya Srishtam Guna Karma Vibhavasha. So Krishna created those. Krishna created the world in this way, that in order a society to function properly, you need all these 4 classes, and they should work together in cooperation. If some of those classes is missing, there will be a problem. Like if we see the history of human society, one by one those classes were destroyed, and now society is not in a very good shape. First there was the Brahmanas, then Brahmanas, they were removed. At some point Kshatriyas, because the church was on the top, and Kshatriyas, the kings, they were listening to the church. They were taking advice from the church. Of course, the church became very political at some point, because they were, as we said, the Brahmanas, they should be independent. They were not independent. They were dependent on the money that they were getting from the kings. So then they started thinking about politics, not just about giving independent spiritual advices. So then at some point king said, okay, we'll get rid of those guys. We don't need their advice. So they became independent. They started ruling without accepting the advices of the Brahmanas, the church, the spiritual people. Then for a certain amount of time, the aristocracy, especially in Europe, like the lords and so on, they were like the leading power. But then what happened? At some point, the Vaishyas, they became very prominent, and they said, well, these guys, they are not really doing much, and they're getting so much of our money. Why? We just get rid of them, and then we can control the whole show. And they just kill all of them. Which revolution was that? French Revolution. They kill all the kings and this and that. And then the Vaishyas, they just took over. And then capitalism started. Now, nobody was there to control the Vaishyas. When there are kings, when the Vaishyas start cheating, the kings have to control them. But now, because there was no powerful kings, the Vaishyas, they start doing whatever they want. They can say, let's make some money. Okay, just make a war there, for example, in the Middle East, and let's make some money. But some people will die. Don't worry, just like 50 million people will die. We have so many. Just let's make some fast money. Come on, let's do the job. There is nobody to control them. Huh?
And they make us overwork?
Yeah, they make you overwork. They decide a product cost that amount of money. The job of the king was, he say, maximum on what kind of price a Vaishya should sell it, so that he has profit, but it's not for because of the exploitation of the people. Now there are no kings, so they produce something in Taiwan for like 3 cents, and they sell it in America for $50. But it's not right. Who tell me it's not right? If someone says something, I'll just give him $10, and then no problem, everything will work. And then, at some point, the Shudra said, hey, wait a minute, we are doing all the job, and we are getting so little, and these guys are getting all the profit. We'll get rid out of them. Come on. Bam, 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 they kill all the Vaishyas. And what happened? Communism came, work revolution. And then, the Shudras, they were working and they were controlling the money. But the problem is, they don't know how to make money. Shudras, they are good in working, but they are not good in finding out the ideas how with this work to make a good money. This is the strength of the Vaishya. A Shudra cannot do it. Shudra is a worker. He can do the job, but he doesn't know how from this job to create the profit. So actually at some point Shudras, they figured it out. Wait a minute, we are producing so many things, but we don't make much money out of it. And they started, all the countries where communism was, they started getting more and more in debt, because they don't have, at some point they figured it out, wait a minute, we need Vaishyas. So then they start looking in the schools who are the most clever people to make them like the party leaders, so that they give direction, because they didn't know, okay, what are we doing now? They don't know, they don't have a vision. For a vision you need a Brahmana, you need a Kshatriya, you need at least a Vaishya. You give you vision, okay, you produce this, now take it, you go there, you sell it, you make that amount of money. If you don't have these people, then you have a problem. And then, because it couldn't continue for a long time, then it started collapsing. And then who took over again? The Vaishyas, of course.
Because it's in the blood.
Yes. So now basically this is the struggle in the world. Struggle is between two parties.
Sudras and Vaishyas?
Yes, in some places Shudras are in charge. Actually Vaishyas, but very clever Vaishyas. And they say to the Shudras, no, actually that was the communism everybody was thinking. No, now everybody is equal and we have freedom and we have the same rights. And then few super clever guys on the top, they were saying, yes, you're all right. Just give us the money, we'll take care of them and we'll give you regularly, no problem. But actually, few guys, they were controlling the money again. And what happened with the money? Oh, they disappeared. But how disappeared? Nobody knows. So who was taking care for the money? We don't know. They suddenly disappeared. And how? 300, like Greece, 300 billion disappeared. How 300 billion just disappeared like that? We don't know. And so, who took them? We don't know. And suddenly the country is bankrupt, like the Europe has to save Greece. Otherwise, they just had to sell the country to someone. So this is the problem. Some countries now, the Shudras, they think they are in charge, and most of the countries it's just obvious that okay, the Vaishyas are in charge, but actually they don't have control. That's why they can do whatever they like. They can say, oh, let's just make some sickness and make
Make millions out of it.
yes, for example. There is no control. That's why we said in a right social system you need all four, and they have duties, and they are corrective to each other. Like the Brahmanas, they correct the Kshatriyas. Kshatriyas, they correct the Vaishyas. Vaishyas, they correct the Shudras. And then everybody should voluntarily listen to Brahmanas. Then the system will work. Otherwise, it doesn't matter which part of this system you take, it would never be ideal. So because now we are in Kali Yuga, it won't be ideal. It's meant not to be ideal. But if we know this, at least in the society of devotees, gradually we can start working. You had a question. Is this possible to be applied in the devotee society, Varnashrama? That was the question?
Yeah, that's the question I asked earlier. But yeah, if we have time to address that. And I don't mean it in a controversial way, but I was more so seeing it because like he was mentioning how society, because I ran into a guy distributing books actually, and he was like really combative because he was saying some things that they don't like, that they're against the Vedas in India now. They're really pushing against that. And they're pushing against the Vedas and the Varnashram in India because they say it's against women and Shudras and this type of thing. And he kind of like he was like attacking me basically for trying to distribute the Bhagavad Gita. So then I thought about it and I was like, wow, here in the West, like we're far more degraded than they are over in India. So if it's like in India they're not really liking the system, then it's like what to think of over here in the West. So my question was like, with that in mind, and just from like a reasonable perspective, it's like, do you think people could take this on, or maybe like, or do you think it's just a matter of like, maybe we have to find the people that are willing to accept this as a system, as long as you're able to fully educate people and say like, look, these people are the highest for the full greatness, for the greater good of the general community, and just like have people properly educated as what people's roles are and why they're in that role, and then that way people could take up to it and be okay with the role that they're playing. Yeah, like it's kind of
I will. Many ways you can answer this question, and you can start like I don't know, defending the whole idea is this, that. I don't want to go in this direction. Rather, I would just say that we mentioned with Pandava Prabhu a little earlier, this is what it works in the universe. So, willingly or not, if you want to achieve some results, you will follow this. There is nothing else to follow. But as Pandava Prabhu said, you won't do it scientifically. So anyway, they're following the same system. That's why they have schools. That's why they have professors. Why do you need professor? Just get one kid, first grade, and put him as a professor in a university to teach. What's the problem?
You won't be able to.
Why you need a guy who is clever, who knows, who can give a vision? They need a brahmanas. They're doing the same thing. Why USA is giving so much money for military defense? Like the biggest chunk of the taxes of the people go there. Why? Well, because you need protection, because protection is so important. If you don't have protection, everybody is scared. If everybody is scared, nobody will do their duties. If there is no duties, there will be no money. If there is no money, the whole society collapses. So it's so important that people know, okay, today I'll go out and there is protection. I can be peaceful, I can go to work, I can do my job, and I can go home peaceful, and I can have peaceful night with my family. It's so important. Why they are making money? Because without money there is no sense gratification. So anyway, they are following this. They are already following it. But they won't do it scientifically. That means they'll try to get the benefits, but they will not recognize their duties. They don't want to recognize completely their dependence on each other. Like, for example, a Vaishya, he will make money. Of course, there are different cases, but generally he will send his kid for some education. So why? Because he knows his kid should have discrimination, should have intelligence. Then he'll be able to make more money. That's why he'll send him to school. So they may say many things, but actually this is what they are doing. They are already doing it. Just they don't want to. Because of our rebellious nature in Kali Yuga, we don't want to accept that we are actually, this is what we are following because it works. The high people in the society, they won't argue with this because they know this. If you go to a high person and explain scientifically this system, he'll say, yeah, this is what it is, tell me. I want to know more, I want to put it into my company, this in the... Because he understands, oh, this is how the things are working. Immediately he will take some profit out of it. But who is going to quarrel? Who is going to be opposed to this? The Shudras, the workers.
They're like 50%, right? From like a
More.
general statistic.
More.
They're more 60.
1,000 people, generally 1 is a Brahmana, 9 are Kshatriyas, 90 are Vaishyas, and 900 will be Shudras. Now I think it's even worse because
it's even worse nowadays.
you have some Vaishyas but not so many Vaishyas, and you don't have really a Kshatriyas. Or maybe you have 1 Brahmana on each 1,000, maybe. But anyway, how to be... well, we as a devotees, we have to live according to a social system. That's obvious, yes? Because we are part of the society. If you go in the Himalayas, no problem. But if you are part of the world, you have to function according to a social system. Yes? So now the question is, which social system? We can choose between the different. The benefit of this system is that it's created by Krishna, so it follows the rules and regulations of Krishna. That's why it's scientific. And the benefit of this system is that it's predominantly meant to be for everybody to uplift him to life in Sattva Guna. And that means gives him opportunity for spiritual advancement. Other system, they don't care about your spiritual advancement. It's just a system. We have to exploit you. You have to become part of the system, we'll get some production out of you, and then we'll throw you out at some point. Okay, we'll give you some small retirement money, and you'll be quiet, and then soon you'll die, and okay, problem solved. But the real idea about culture in a human society is that you develop yourself spiritually, not just materially. So from this perspective, for a devotees, it's a good deal. But still, if they don't follow Varnashrama, still they can be a devotees. But their life will be a little bit more problematic because they will deal more in the environment of Rajaguna and Tamaguna, passion and ignorance. So it will be more difficult for them to remember Krishna, to be Krishna conscious. Whereas Varnashrama, even if you follow Varnashrama in the West, as much as possible in your environment, it will create some amount of sattvic lifestyle. So it will be much easier to remember Krishna. That's the idea. That's why we get up early in the morning. What is this? Varnashrama Dharma duties. All these things helps you to be in a Sattva Guna. And how do you start putting into practice Varnashrama? You don't start by, by forcing it on everyone. That's not the way you start Varnashrama. The way you start Varnashrama is with yourself first. First you have to find out what's my situation, what's my conditioning, what are my duties, and you should start performing your duties. Now, if you know this, you can help few people around you also to figure it out. Then now, if you have few people around you who also know who are they, and what are their duties, now you can start correlating. Now you have already a society, a community. It can be a community of 2 people or 3 people, it can be 1 family, or it can be 2, 3 families, but now already you have community because you know who are you what's your relationship between each other. And then you can deal properly and nicely. And then you can start expanding. And if you do that, you can have a bigger community. At some point you can have a village. If everybody accepts the same system and they work in between themselves with this system, then you have a village. Then if you have few villages next to each other, it will be a city. And if you have few strong cities, then you have New York. And then gradually you can have a country, you can have a continent. So, but it starts in this way. That's why we say it's a self-realization. You start from yourself. You don't try to see, why you are not doing your duties, huh? Why you are not doing this? No, this is not the way how Vaishnavas deal. You look yourself, you do your stuff properly, and then if the other guy is also doing the same, okay, now you have already a connection. You have a Varnashrama Dharma, I think. Sometimes devotees think Varnashrama Dharma means everybody should go on the village and just grow carrots and potatoes and cabbage. And okay, now we have a Varnashrama Dharma. It's not like that. It's about understanding who are you, what's your nature. So that's why now we came to the end of our class and I have to give you the homework. What will be your homework? Well, think about it. Think actually, who are you according to Varna? Now, for now we are speaking just about Varna. What's your situation according to Varna? So, what kind of job from these four it's the closest to you to do? And what's the way how it's easier for you to make your money? And also, how do you think is the best way for you to integrate in the society, to be more beneficial for the whole society? Think about these things. And then also, it may happen that you're not only one. You can be a combination of two, for example. Okay, you can also kind of give food of thought for this option also. So think about it, and then next time we can have a small discussion about this. Because as we said, it's very, very important to understand who are we and how to function, even materially in the society. Yes?
I don't remember.
Okay. Thank you very much. Om Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.